Hello everyone, welcome back to Pix or Tea Astrology. I'm your host Pix, checking in bright as a black hole, and today we're going to be discussing Venus and Mercury changing signs on November 8th and November 9th. I'll be going over each sign individually so you can see how each of these ingresses will affect your sign or someone you know, and I will be sharing some tips on how to make the most of these vibes. So before I go into each of the signs, I want to talk a little bit about annual profections, because both Mercury and Venus changing signs will majorly change their condition, and with profections, this is significant. Profections are an ancient Hellenistic timing technique where one house in your chart is activated every year of your life, and the year starts on your birthday. It's a very simple but very powerful method to determine what sort of themes a given year will produce for you. So how does it work? Each year of your life is associated with a different house in your natal chart and kind of activates that house. So how do you calculate your profection year, and what does that mean? To calculate your profection year, you are going to identify how old you are, and then you're going to look at this chart that I have made here, and you're going to find your age. 0 to 12 months old begins at your first house. So once you have identified the house of your profection year, you're going to look at the sign that traditionally rules that house in your chart using whole sign houses. It's very important that you use whole sign houses because this technique is not accurate unless you use whole sign houses. So the ruling planet of that sign becomes Lord of the Year. I know, how old are we, right? Ancient terminology, but Lord of the Year means that it is a very significant influencer or indicator for that year. So for example, I am in a 10th house profection year. My 10th house is ruled by Leo. So the ruling planet or luminary of Leo is the sun, which makes the Lord of the Year, while I'm 33, the sun. And the position or condition of the Lord of your year, that planet or luminary, especially the condition of it in your natal chart, including the aspects and the house placement, will definitely provide a little bit of a deeper insight into the yearly themes for that year. So why does this matter right now? If you are in a Venus-ruled profection year or a Mercury-ruled profection year, something about this week is going to shift for you a little more viscerally than for other people. So if you're in a Venus-ruled year, which means you are in a Taurus or Libra profection, you can anticipate some sort of improvements with Venus entering Libra this week, because it will be entering its domicile. So this could manifest as an enhanced relationship energy, or maybe financial gains, or just an overall increase in pleasure and harmony in areas governed by those Taurus and Libra houses in your natal chart. If you are in a Mercury-ruled year, which means you are in a Gemini or Virgo house profection, you can prepare for some challenges with Mercury entering its detriment in Sagittarius. So maybe expect a little bit of complications or difficulties at the end of the week, maybe related to communication mishaps, travel delays, or issues with contracts or negotiations, or with technology, especially in the topics that are ruled by the Gemini and Virgo houses in your chart. So by using these profections, you can get a sense of the dominant themes happening during certain parts of the year, and you can adjust your strategies and your expectations accordingly to what the Lord of your year is up to. Okay, with all that being said, this was my first time trying to describe profections. So if you are confused or you have questions, please comment below and I will help clear it up. Now let's move on to the horoscopes for each of the signs. The timestamps are below. I recommend, again, listening to your rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign, Google rising sign calculator and look it up. If you don't know what time you were born, you can look at your sun or moon, but I highly recommend looking into figuring out your rising sign because things will get a lot more accurate for you if you do that. All right, moving on. Let us begin. Hello, Aries rising. So let's talk about Venus entering Libra. It will be entering your 7th house on November 8th, And with this, you can expect stronger connections with people overall and smoother sailing in partnerships, relationships, and social dynamics in general. So how can this manifest? Maybe you and a significant other find yourselves planning a future or planning a future adventure of some kind, or just simply enjoying some sort of nice dinner date together. Dates are highlighted. Maybe in business, another manifestation could be contracts coming together a lot easier, a lot smoother, less friction. Clients could be a lot more agreeable. If you are single, this might be the few weeks where you stumble into someone who just gets you. With Venus in the 7th house, it's very benefic. So how can you use Venus in the 7th house for the next couple weeks? First of all, lean into any opportunities to negotiate if you need to, or to resolve any issues in any partnerships or relationships. If you are fighting with a partner or a bestie, this is the time to smooth it out. Also, how else can you? Let's see. Take initiative to beautify spaces around you. Or if you're feeling it, plan some sort of low-key romantic outing or like bestie date. And, just overall socialize for the next few weeks. You'll find that good things come to you when you socialize. So let's talk about Mercury sliding into your 9th house. When it enters Sagittarius, we have some mixed feelings. It will also square Saturn in your 12th house. This happens on November 9th and a few days afterwards. And what can you expect with this? Expect to put some serious thoughts into things, into your beliefs, into the bigger picture. You'll be thinking a bit more, but be ready for some mental blocks or delays with things. Mercury moves quickly, but it will be dealing with some obstacles when it enters Sagittarius. So how could this manifest possibly? If you are planning a trip abroad, that might hit some snags, maybe requiring just extra research or waiting on some sort of passport or visa issues, possible. But foundational. It's not saying that it's not going to happen, but things need to be perfected with Saturn squaring. Or maybe your thirst for knowledge in general can lead you to enroll in some sort of class or course, but maybe it demands a lot more focus or attention or discipline than you were anticipating. That's Saturn square. How else? Maybe it could manifest as deeper discussions about philosophy or ethics could be at the table, especially with the climate going on right now, the political climate. But they will be a bit more challenging than usual if you get into any debates or discussions about higher-minded topics. So how can you use Mercury in Sagittarius for the next few weeks? Use the next couple weeks to review your educational or travel plans accordingly. Give yourself some time to make sure everything's ironed out perfectly. If you are hitting some sort of mental wall, it might be the universe's way of telling you to slow down and just to think things through. It's not necessarily a no, but it's a not right now, maybe. So for the next few weeks, Venus in your 7th house has your back with relationships, making it a very sweet time to make connections. Meanwhile, Mercury's dance with Saturn and entrance into Sagittarius is like a tough teacher who's really making you earn that A in school, in life. So keep your eyes open, keep your mind sharp. We have good things and we have hard things, right? The other thing I want to mention for you specifically as a Aries rising, Mars is your planetary ruler. It is combust right now in your 8th house. I'm not going to get into the specifics of combustion, but just know that if you are feeling very tired, you are right on time. Mars combust is all about the phoenix burning up, turning to ashes, and being reborn. So the heat is turned up on some things, especially with emotional situations, intimate negotiations, shared resources with people, money. There's a burn up and a rebirth happening. So how could this manifest? Maybe discussions about who owes what is coming up right now and it's fiery. Or maybe you're sifting through the embers of your past financial or emotional investments in some way. So how can you use this combustion time? Just know that it's not going to be like this forever. Mars will be going through its cazimi November 17th, and that will be a rebirth moment for you for the next 2 years. So stay cool when the pressure's on. This is not the best time for ultimatums. Use this energy for transformation. Reassess your investments, your debts, and your deeper self and your emotional baggage. What needs a revamp and a redo? This is the prime couple weeks until November 17th for a financial and emotional detox. And like I said, things majorly improve after the Mars cazimi on November 17th. So allow yourself time for this rebirth. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pix's Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Taurus risings. So Venus will be entering your 6th house when it enters Libra on November 8th. And since Venus is Taurus's ruling planet and it enters into its domicile of Libra, this shift points to a phase where your overall well-being is receiving a very significant boost. So essentially, with Venus in a strong position like it is in Libra, you as a Taurus rising are likely to experience a ripple effect of improvement, like enhancing areas related to health, especially work, daily routines, and pets. You might be noticing things falling into place a little bit more easily, or experiencing an easier, more harmonious flow with your day-to-day activities that maybe wasn't there before Venus moved. So get ready for a smoother sailing at work and a more harmonious daily routine for the next couple weeks. So how could this play out specifically? Examples: those little tasks at work could become a bit easier, a bit more enjoyable and harmonious. You might find that you are the go-to person for resolving any office issues, which you don't want, but also maybe you have the magic touch. If you've been thinking about starting some sort of health kick or revamping your diet in some fashion, Venus is giving you the green light when it enters Libra. You might also find that your gym outfits are particularly on point with Venus in Libra. And there is a potential for some sort of work crush or just getting along better with your colleagues at work in general. So how can you make the most of Venus in Libra? Number 1, taking an initiative to beautify your workspace specifically. So it could be as simple as getting a new plant or buying some new wall art or bringing a nice crystal into work. Number 2, use this energy by leveraging your enhanced people skills right now and network to improve some sort of team dynamics at work. You have the magic touch with work right now. If you have pets, number 3, it's a sweet, sweet time to bond with them. Or if you've been considering adopting, you might find the perfect furry friend with Venus in Libra. So let's talk about Mercury entering Sag. Mercury will be entering your 8th house, and when it does that, it will square Saturn in your 11th house. And this happens on November 9th and a couple days after as well. So what can you expect with this vibe? Joint finances or shared resources or inheritances and that sort of thing might demand more attention. Think tax forms, loans, insurance policies, rental agreements, etc. All of that needs some sort of review. You can also expect conversations about these types of things to be more frequent. And with Mercury here, you're going to want to slow down and be steady and sure that you are extra clear to avoid misunderstandings. So how could this manifest more specifically? Maybe you will experience delays or be asked for additional documentation, especially if friends or networks are involved with financial dealings, like kind of if you know a guy, you might be asked for additional information about knowing that guy to fix the problem. Or it's also a time where you're likely to plan more thoroughly before speaking or before making important decisions related to investments or resources. So how can you use this energy? You can definitely dot your I's, cross your T's when dealing with anything financially complex. Be slow, be cautious, be meticulous. Saturn is watching you. Also, be very patient with any holdups in these money matters or in these shared resource matters, especially if they involve groups or organizations or like a group of other people. So, while Venus in your 6th house is smoothing out your day-to-day, Mercury's 8th house transit is asking you to double check the details, especially in shared finances. So while Venus in your 6th house is smoothing out your day-to-day routine, Mercury in the 8th house is asking you to double check the details, especially with shared finances and with deep, challenging discussions. So balancing that easygoing vibe in your daily grind with the need for careful communication about more profound matters will be your key to managing the weeks ahead. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyx's Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th house Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Gemini risings. So Venus enters your 5th house when it enters Libra on November 8th, and you can expect a surge of creative impulses, romantic endeavors, and recreational activities. It's really a yummy transit for y'all. So how can this manifest specifically? Number 1 example, just more opportunities to do things you enjoy, like your hobbies, art, play, fun, pleasure, partying, just enjoying leisure and recreational activities, camping, etc. Also romance, and also children and young relatives might bring more delight and maybe spending more time with them and enjoying their company, or maybe you hear news of some sort of pregnancy also. So how do I recommend you use this energy for the next few weeks? I recommend, number 1, initiating some sort of art project or some sort of creative collaboration with other people. Express affection in your relationships. You'll find it's more reciprocated. Also, maybe try organizing some sort of fun, low-stress activities that invite laughter and play and connection to your inner child. Maybe play some Neopets. If you haven't played in a while, they're probably hungry. Your Neopets are dying. Or maybe just share your enjoyment of arts and entertainment with friends on social platforms. Share the recent movie you watched or the show you're obsessed with or the book you read. These are all fun, leisurely things of the 5th house. So enjoy, play, and pleasure for the next few weeks with Venus in your 5th. Let's move on to Mercury entering your 7th house and squaring Saturn around November 9th. And with Mercury being your ruling planet and entering its detriment, you might feel a dip in your energy, your mental energy, your physical energy. This could manifest as maybe feeling mentally drained or facing a few more hurdles in your day-to-day communications with people, especially in the realm of your relationships and your partnerships. It could feel like your agility is being tested. Maybe you get sick. Maybe you need to rest. But either way, Mercury is asking you to take a step back despite your efforts to advance. So during these few weeks with Mercury in Sagittarius, it's important to rest when you aren't tired and to give yourself a lot of space to process thoughts and to have communications with people more slowly and more deliberately. And it's entering your 7th house. So communications in close partnerships or any one-on-one interactions require a bit more extra care. Professional conversations you have could be more structured, and there's a focus just on seriousness. So how can this manifest for y'all? It will generally be a more social next couple weeks. Maybe you're meeting different types of people, unique, out of the box, unconventional, non-traditional types of people, being in communication with them more often. At some point, maybe experiencing a need to address or renegotiate terms with a business partner or a significant other, a bestie, someone who you spend a lot of one-on-one time with. Also, possible feelings of being misunderstood or having to explain yourself more than usual is possible with Mercury in Sag squaring Saturn. Again, professional settings and discussions may take on a more formal or more serious, structured tone. And like I said, with Mercury as Gemini's ruling planet and it being in detriment, Geminis might find themselves feeling a bit more drained or facing situations that require you to take a step back and to regroup mentally. So how can you use Mercury in Sagittarius energy? It's in your 7th house, so prepare for conversations, maybe important ones, with partners or colleagues. Make sure you gather your facts, you clarify your thoughts, write it all down. Also, you can use this energy by being proactive in scheduling reviews or discussions about expectations with your partners or business partners or marriage or that sort of thing. Boundary conversations are possible. Also, you can use this time to build a more structured approach to achieving long-term relationship or long-term career goals. So by tapping into that creative and relational energy of Venus in your 5th house for the next couple weeks and navigating the more challenging communicative terrain of Mercury squared by Saturn, you Geminis can find a nice balance between enjoying pleasurable pursuits and maintaining partnerships and public roles with care and accuracy. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyx's Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Cancer risings. So Venus enters your 4th house when it enters Libra on November 8th. And with this, you can expect some enhanced harmony in your domestic life, pleasure in your home-based activities, and a strengthening of family bonds for the next few weeks. So how can this manifest with more specifics? You could notice an urge to beautify your home space in some way, upgrading the aesthetics, maybe hanging new pictures or investing in some sort of new type of decor. Maybe family gatherings that you have planned are more harmonious, or just when you spend time with family, things are just nicer and easier. And maybe you're reconnecting with relatives, maybe you're hearing from old relatives you haven't heard from in a while. This can also manifest by you finding comfort in revisiting old family traditions or in creating new ones. Also, possible manifestation, positive developments in real estate matters or home improvements if you're renovating things. So property management gets a plus. So how can you use Venus in Libra? I recommend you arrange some sort of family gathering just to simply catch up. Or if you're having some sort of family dispute that needs resolving, Venus in your 4th is definitely going to be the time to fix it up. I also recommend you use this transit to start a home improvement project that will add both functionality and aesthetic appeal. I also recommend creating some sort of a photo album or a family tree to connect with your roots, and just sometimes we need reminders that it's time to print out those pictures and make the photo album. But yeah, over the next couple weeks, host a small, intimate gathering with your family or your chosen family, whoever your foundational people are, and enjoy time with them. Because the other thing is, Mercury enters your 6th house when it enters Sagittarius, and it squares Saturn in Pisces on November 9th. So this makes you a lot more busy. This brings busyness in life. It brings an increase of communication at the workplace and with health concerns and with pet concerns. So how can this manifest? How can this busyness manifest more specifically? Maybe you're noticing more frequent dialogues or exchanges with coworkers in general. There is a potential for innovative but sometimes impractical ideas to improve workflow or health matters. You've got a little Einstein at the workplace in your mind right now. You might notice Also, a heightened desire to cross off items on your to-do list. You're just ripping through your to-do list, knocking things out left and right, getting it done. But with that could lead to over communication or maybe micromanaging tendencies. On the other hand, also with Mercury in your 6th house, you may be engaging more with health information, possibly through articles or discussions, something about optimizing your well-being. Maybe you have a doctor's appointment, or maybe you have something to do with your pets coming up. So how can you use this energy to your benefit with Mercury here for the next couple weeks? I recommend you implement some sort of new organization system for your tasks to better manage your time, your responsibilities. I just rebooted up my Notion. I highly recommend Notion if you need help with organizing your to-do lists. Also, for the next couple weeks, engage with your pets more if you have them, or consider how you might benefit from adopting a little baby. Pet specifically. Also, you can use this energy to double check any communications and documents at work for clarity and accuracy. It's going to be easy to make mistakes at work for the next few weeks. So slow down, triple check your work, and don't, kick yourself too hard if you mess up something. It's okay. Also, I recommend planning some sort of routine to prioritize your tasks or your health appointments carefully. Make sure you're not overbooking yourself. Make sure you have your alarms set, all of that sort of thing. And with Saturn square, it is a reminder to approach any type of problem solving you're dealing with at work with a step-by-step methodology. No, I'm just going to delete that. Okay. And I also recommend with this transit for the next couple of weeks, just kind of reassess your long-term educational goals or your long-term travel plans and adjust them if needed. So for Cancer, the entrance of Venus into your 4th house is ushering in a time of peace and comfort in your private life, with your family, with your home, while the Mercury-Saturn square presents kind of an opportunity to refine and carefully structure your work and your health routines, even though it might involve some initial hurdles. Saturn just wants to help. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyxis Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Okay, hello, Leo. So Venus enters your 3rd house when it enters Libra on November 8th. And we can expect smoother interactions in your day-to-day communications, a more pleasant social atmosphere, and just a potential for more enjoyable short trips around town. So how can this manifest? Maybe if you are reaching out to siblings or neighbors or relatives, this could lead to more engaging relationships and just kind of bonding more with your siblings and your neighbors and your relatives and your roommates, just more bonding happening with roommates. You can also expect to find some sort of joy in your local outings or just beautifying your immediate surroundings, maybe planting flowers in your garden, that sort of thing. You can also expect some sort of inclination to study, and especially study subjects that appeal to your sense of beauty, like art or design, something like that. You can also expect an enhanced charm and tact in your writing, in your texting, any form of messaging. You will have a golden tongue or silver tongue. You're a Leo, you'll have a golden tongue. You can also expect some sort of good luck happening with your commute or with your daily transportation and your educational matters as well. School might be a little bit easier for those of you that are in school. So how can you use this energy? I recommend you initiate conversations that either mend fences, if you need to mend some sort of fence, or strengthen bonds with the people around you. It's a more social time, so I recommend being social and bonding with those you want to bond with. Also, I recommend engaging with your local community in some way, maybe in some sort of event that's coming up, and things that enhance your neighborhood or your town in some way. I also recommend taking short trips that combine learning and pleasure, like a visit to a nearby museum or an art gallery. And I also recommend using this golden tongue of yours to negotiate or to smooth out any disputes that are happening in your life. You have the magic right now to smooth over these issues. So the other thing is that Mercury enters your 5th house when it enters Sagittarius on November 9th, and it will square Saturn in your 8th house. So what can you expect with Mercury here? A need to balance your creative expression or just your expressiveness with responsibility, and a call to structure any playful pursuits or structure any creative endeavors that you have, and to structure your romantic situation also a bit more seriously. It's time to take some things more seriously, according to Saturn. So how does this manifest in real life? Maybe brainstorming new ideas for creative projects, but feeling the pressure to refine and edit them rigorously. It's a perfectionism transit for the next couple weeks or week or two. Also, discussions about romance or discussions about children or about having children or about your children's lives or just your relationship in general, your romance in general. I know those are weird things to put together, but they're 5th house things. So they might require more patience and more maturity and kind of a breakdown and slow down and dissection of those things. Also, you can expect some sort of activity, like if you're planning a recreational thing, if you're planning to like go camping or something like that, you might notice that you keep dealing with restrictions or like a need for careful budgeting. Also, planning some sort of recreational activity, something you want to do, but encountering practical restrictions, thank you, Saturn, or just like a need for careful budgeting, especially in the context of shared finances. You can also expect having more of a desire to communicate in a very lighthearted manner, but being checked by a need for seriousness, especially when there is some sort of risk involved. Saturn is throwing a wet blanket on the party and wants you to take things seriously. So how can you use this energy? Number 1, work diligently on any artistic or creative writing projects. Pay attention to the details. Tackle any conversations about shared resources or investments with a blend of creativity and realism. Be very clear, be very responsible in your communications, in your relationships, or with your dating life. And also, I recommend applying some sort of disciplined thinking to your hobbies or towards your entrepreneurial activities, ideas, especially ones that require financial investment or involve others' resources. Break it down, slow down, think about it more, perfect it, work on it, sculpt it. So for Leo, with Venus moving into your 3rd house, this offers some sort of chance to enhance your immediate environment around you, enhance your communication, enjoy the beauty of your everyday surroundings, while Mercury's transit through your 5th house, squared by Saturn, suggests a couple weeks of applying serious thought to your creative expressions, to your romantic expressions, possibly reining in that, Leo flair for dramatic communication, but it's to ensure practicality and responsibility and making sure everything is accounted for. Have those serious talks and work towards those serious entrepreneurial hobbies that you want to flower and blossom. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pix's Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Virgos. Venus enters your 2nd house when it enters Libra on November 8th. So with this, you can expect an increase attention on financial harmony in your life and attracting resources a lot easier, coupled with the heightened desire for luxury and aesthetically pleasing items. So how can this manifest in your day-to-day? You might find that you're able to negotiate a better pay at work or improve your income in some way over the next couple weeks. You might be kind of purchase happy also. There could be a draw towards purchasing items that not only have practical value but are very pretty and bring a sense of pleasure and beauty to your environment, like art pieces for your home. This transit could also encourage a more balanced approach to budgeting, where you are saving and spending in a way that maximizes your sense of security and self-worth. So how can you use Venus in the second house for the next couple weeks? Number one, consider making financial decisions that align with both your material needs and your desire for beauty. This could be the right time to merge utility with aesthetics. Also, have peaceful discussions with partners about finances and knowing that a win-win outcome is likely. And also, I recommend you assess your possessions and consider what still holds value to you. Donate things, declutter. Decluttering is nice because it reaffirms what is truly important to you. It's kind of like an energy upgrade. So I recommend donating things and just reorganizing your space. And also asking for that raise or, jumping out and trying to get more money. Venus will provide, especially if you were born at nighttime with the sun below the horizon in your natal chart. All right, so let's talk about Mercury. Mercury enters your fourth house when it enters Sagittarius on November 9th, and it will immediately square Saturn in Pisces. So this brings more of a focus on your home life. Your internal life brings more communication and busyness at home and with your foundation and with your family, maybe even revealing deeper thoughts or plans concerning your own foundation and what your needs are. But this does come with some challenges or restrictions, especially with your partnerships, who you're in partner with, or some sort of one-on-one dynamic. So how can this manifest in day-to-day? You might engage in more important discussions with family members over the next couple weeks that require sensitivity and patience. Also, maybe planning and restructuring aspects of your home might come into focus, like repairs or renovations, but with a need to be extra thorough and mindful of the long term. Also, encountering some sort of hesitation or obstacles when communicating with people that you live with, especially trying to balance home responsibilities with relationship dynamics. So how do you use this energy for the next couple weeks? I recommend taking time to really listen and think before speaking, especially on family matters or when making plans related to your living situation. I also recommend you are prepared to face delays and setbacks with any home-related projects you have over the next couple weeks, or any negotiations with landlords, agents, any negotiations with family members. Use this as an opportunity to ensure all details are accounted for. I also recommend you approach any discussions with a partner or close friends with a mix of openness to new ideas and a realistic understanding of the boundaries and limitations currently in place. The realism. So the other thing is Mercury is your ruling planet. And with Mercury being your ruling planet and entering its detriment in your fourth house, you might indeed feel a dip in your usual energy, physical and mental. This is something that manifests sometimes as feeling mentally drained or facing more hurdles than usual in your day-to-day communications, especially in the realm of your home life or your personal foundations because of the fourth house. So with Mercury in Sag, it could feel like your intellectual agility is being tested. Maybe it's pushing you to take a step back despite your efforts to advance, which is very frustrating, but during this time, it's important, to rest when needed and to give yourself space to process thoughts and communications more slowly, more deliberately. Saturn wants you to slow down. Mercury wants you to be chaotic, but Saturn wants you to slow down. So for Virgo, Venus moving into the second house could highlight financial gains or pleasurable purchases, while Mercury's transit through the fourth house, challenged by Saturn, suggests a couple weeks where home and family communications take on a more serious tone, and any changes in the home environment are approached with careful thought and consideration and sometimes delays. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pix's Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Libras. So Venus enters your first house on November 8th when it enters Libra. And with this, a sense of harmony, a sense of charm becomes central to your persona and maybe making you feel a bit more sociable and inclined to indulge in self-care and just improve your appearance for the next couple weeks. And with Venus being your ruling planet and entering its domicile, that means its condition is majorly improving, and therefore so is your condition. Your condition is also going to majorly improve. When Venus enters Libra, it marks a period of enhanced personal charm, attractiveness, and a sense of well-being for Libra ascendants. This improvement of Venus's condition reflects positively on Libras. Boosting your confidence, making it an excellent time for a favorable impression onto other people, and a good time to initiate any personal projects or work towards your goals. It's like getting a home field advantage, basically, on all of life. So how can this manifest, though, in day-to-day? You might be noticing yourself drawn to update your wardrobe or change your hairstyle, get your hair done, something that aligns with Venus's connection to aesthetics. Also, the way that you interact could be more gracious, possibly smoothing out any rough edges in your social life or with any schmoozing that you need to do. There's also a potential for new romantic connections with Venus entering here, or a renewed sense of connection in existing relationships. So how do you use this energy with Venus in Libra? I recommend harnessing this time to put forward the best version of yourself, both in personal style and in initiating new relationships or nurturing existing ones. I also recommend making some sort of appointments to enhance your appearance or your well-being. This is an excellent few weeks to get a makeover or a relaxing spa day, maybe some Botox. Also, you can approach any conflicts with tact over the next couple weeks, as you're likely to be a bit more effective in finding harmonious solutions with Venus in your first house. So let's talk about Mercury now. Mercury moves into your third house and squares Saturn around November 9th. And a couple days after November 9th. So your day-to-day communications and your thought processes might become a bit more chaotic, busy, and also serious, and maybe restrained on some level, with an emphasis on structure. So how does this manifest in the real world? You might notice a tendency to need to speak more deliberately, choosing your words with care, especially in conversations with friends and relatives. There could also be some sort of challenges in your commute or with technical issues, which requires more patience and some systematic problem solving. This could also manifest in learning new skills that you weren't expecting to, or you were expecting to, but especially those requiring deep focus, like coding or writing or editing. It may demand more effort, but also result in a greater mastery. So how can you use this energy deliberately? I recommend to be prepared for extra steps or protocols in any daily things that you're doing, especially with travel. Use any delays you have. It's kind of Mercury retrograde energy. I hate to say it. So just use the delays to slow down and perfect things. Also, I recommend prioritizing your communications. So handle one thing at a time to avoid getting overwhelmed. This is not a do it all at once type of thing. This is a do one thing at a time kind of thing. Also, I recommend being more precise in your speech and your writing to prevent any issues, miscommunications, misunderstandings. Also, I recommend you tackle your to-do list with some sort of strategy You'll want to be more chaotic about it and just do it, by the seat of your pants, which good for you if you do that. But Saturn's there squaring you, so it wants you to break down any complex tasks into more smaller, more manageable parts to counter any feelings of being bogged down by Saturn's weight. Lastly, take time to listen carefully in conversations, ensuring you're not only understood, but you're also understanding others correctly, as this can mitigate some of Saturn's restrictive effects on Mercury's flow of ideas. So Libra's experience with this week begins on a focus on personal charm and the potential for interpersonal dynamics as Venus enters your first house. Following this, Mercury entering your third house calls for more careful communication and more patience in learning or in everyday exchanges as it squares Saturn, suggesting an initial friction that requires deliberate navigation. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyxis Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Scorpios. So Venus enters your 12th house when it enters Libra on November 8th, and you can expect a pull towards introspection and seeking comfort in solitude. It's a period of a couple weeks where engaging in private contemplation or enjoying alone time can be especially rewarding. So how does this manifest in day-to-day life? You might be finding peace in more solitary activities such as meditation, yoga, or spending time in nature. There can be a desire to connect with art or music in a more personal, perhaps spiritual way. It's also a good couple weeks for dealing with past relationship issues, possibly through therapy or private reflection. This is also a good time for traveling. Your travels will be very, very yummy. Especially if you're traveling far, and any online interactions you have with people will be a little bit better also. So how can you use this energy? I recommend you use this time for self-reflection. I know that's boring. It's not that boring to a Scorpio rising, but this is a good time to work through any unresolved emotional matters in a very quiet and supportive and peaceful setting. I also recommend you engage in activities that nourish your soul for the next couple weeks and help you reconnect with your spirit, your inner self. Journaling, getting back into journaling, or any creative arts that reconnect you back to yourself are supported. I also recommend traveling. If you want to travel, if you're planning to travel over the next couple weeks, do it. So let's talk about Mercury. Mercury enters your second house when it enters Sagittarius on November 9th. It will immediately square Saturn in Pisces. So there may be some more practical, perhaps critical approach to finances and possessions for the coming weeks. This is a couple weeks that might demand more careful thought before making any significant purchases or financial decisions. So how does this manifest in day-to-day life? You're going to notice over the coming weeks, conversations about money could become more frequent, and you might need to navigate some sort of complex discussions or decisions related to resources. When planning any budgets or financial strategies, you can expect to spend more time reviewing and revising them thanks to Saturn's square. Also, potential delays in financial agreements or financial transactions might require some extra patience or some extra attention to detail. You can also expect more commerce to be happening in your life, whether you are buying more things or selling more things or making more money at work, having more opportunities to make money. These are all possibilities. So how can you use this energy for the next couple weeks? I recommend you be very diligent with your financial records and any financial communications you have. It's a good time to double check your bank statements or contracts. Make sure you don't have any subscriptions that you don't know about taking money from you. Go through. I think there are some programs you can find that I think AI will do it. Google it. There's ways to look for hidden subscriptions that you didn't know you were subscribed to and paying. So look into that. If you are investing, if you are saving, consider long-term strategies and be prepared to adapt to any immediate restrictions or challenges. If you have a chunk of money, maybe put it in a CD or a different kind of bank account. And with Saturn in your fifth house, the square might introduce some constraints concerning anything you do for fun or pleasure or leisure or creativity. So balance your budget with your enjoyment. We want to make sure that your pleasureful pursuits are sustainable. So for Scorpio, Venus moving into the 12th house is an invitation to explore emotional and spiritual realms more privately. And Mercury's shift into the second house, complicated by Saturn square, calls for a very measured and disciplined approach to matters of resources and self-expression. And one more thing I want to mention, Mars is your planetary ruler, and Mars is currently combust in Scorpio. And so Mars representing you being combust means you might be experiencing a dip in your usual assertiveness, your usual directness, your energy levels. It can manifest as you're not being at full strength, like not quite at full strength, or that your usual motivations are in a bit of a cloud. So there might be a tendency to push too hard over the next 2 weeks without considering your limits, which can lead to burnout or stress-related health issues. So be aware while Mars is combust. Frustrations might arise if you feel like your actions are not yielding expected results, especially with whatever your personal goals or initiatives are. And so I want to issue just a little warning. Since Mars is combust, we all might be a little bit more accident prone. So be very conscious of your physical movements, avoid any risky activities, be very, very mindful. And until Mars reaches its Cazimi position on November 17th, which will offer a brief window of strengthened Mars energy, and we're excited for this renewal, it's very important that you pace yourself for the next couple weeks. Be extra cautious in your actions and don't force any matters that seem resistant to progress, because right now, Mars is going through its death and its rebirth. While Mars is combust, it is burning up. The sun is like cooking it. It's turning into ashes. And once it passes the sun, it will be reborn from its ashes. And we will be going through a new, another 2-year cycle for Mars, which is a new 2-year cycle for Scorpio risings as well. But that's for another video. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyxis Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Sagittarius. So Venus enters your 11th house when it enters Libra on November 8th. And with this, you can think major social butterfly energy. You're going to find that connecting with your besties or your friends or groups or diving into just social causes feel a lot more rewarding over the next couple weeks. So how can this manifest in your life, in your day-to-day? Maybe, number one, you could be the person that organizes a killer community event, or just you become the right person to smooth over any drama in your friend group. If you're feeling the pull to get into any activism or social work, this is the time for it. It's a prime time. Your ability to charm and rally the troops is top notch right now. Plus, you have a very keen eye for aesthetics right now, so you might be the one leading the charge to make those community spaces look Insta-worthy. So how do you use this energy for the next few weeks? I recommend you throw a get-together or hit up some networking events. I also recommend, if there is a cause close to your heart right now, jump in. You'll be amazed at how many folks are ready to back you up. And hey, revamping your online presence to match the real you, to uncover another layer of authenticity, will attract the right kind of crowd. You will be supported in that. So let's talk about Mercury now. Mercury enters your first house on November 9th and immediately squares Saturn in Pisces. And with this, it's like your mind is on a treadmill, working out ideas, but feeling a little bit stuck. You're processing things a mile a minute with Mercury in your first house. But there's a sense that you gotta polish up how you're putting yourself out there with Saturn square. So how does this manifest? Mercury in your first house makes you very, very busy, especially with Venus entering your 11th house. You're going to be very social, very busy, a lot of things on your to-do list, a lot of people to see, places to go. Also, you might notice you're ruminating a bit more than usual. You might be rehearsing conversations in your head, like a lot, especially when it comes to your dreams and what you're aiming for. If you don't know what the word rumination means, look it up. And don't do that. If you find yourself ruminating and like thinking in circles, remind your brain that nothing is actually happening. We love to come up with these like imaginative stories in our head, and then our body reacts to it, and then we are stuck in this loop. So remind yourself that the thing that you're making up in your head and you're thinking about isn't happening right now, so it's not a big deal. Also, notice that you will be more chatty, again, more social, but you might be a bit more perfectionist in your chats. It's like you have a built-in filter with Saturn squaring Mercury, where you're not going to be blurting out the wrong thing. Also, noticing that you want to lay down the law with any personal boundaries. That might feel extra important, in getting it right with finesse also. So how do you use this energy to your benefit? I recommend, in general, crafting your words can really pay off with Mercury here. So you will come across crystal clear with Mercury asking you to craft and perfect and sculpt what you're going to say. And when it's time to step up to the plate for a big conversation, having your ducks in a row will make you feel like you have all your shit together and will make the conversation very, very easy. So if you need to have conversations, prep for it and then have it. And just a heads up, family life or home stuff could throw a little bit of a wrench in your plans this week at the end of the week. So balancing your expressiveness with what's going down at home is key. So for you, Sagittarius, the 11th house Venus is your ticket to turning up the charm in your social life. And with Mercury's move into your first house, this is your cue to light up those communication skills. Think less improv, more TED Talk vibes, especially with family dynamics in the mix. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyx's Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Howdy there, Capricorns. Venus is entering your 10th house when it enters Libra on November 8th, so get ready for your professional life to feel like it is getting a little bit of a makeover with a side of charm. You're looking at potentially smoother sailing at work and maybe some well-deserved kudos coming your way. So how can this manifest in your day-to-day life? Number 1, your ability to navigate any office politics is on the rise. You could be the one that everyone wants on their team, and especially for that next big project. Number 2, feeling more connected to colleagues. That's Venus doing her thing. It's an excellent couple weeks for leadership, for you to be in a leadership position, and even finding mentorship opportunities. And if your work has a public-facing aspect, expect to be more in the spotlight. Think along the lines of a well-received presentation or a social media shout-out that boosts your rep, or just some sort of blessing coming in. So how do you use this energy? We want to take advantage of Venus here. Don't be shy about taking the lead in any conflict resolution at work or with authority figures. Your peacemaking skills are gold for the next couple weeks. Lean into any urges to jazz up your work environment also, or update your LinkedIn profile. It could definitely pay off in terms of your image or how other people perceive your professionalism. So let's talk about Mercury now. Mercury enters your 12th house when it enters Sagittarius, and it will immediately square Saturn in Pisces in your 3rd house. So what is up with that? Your thoughts might be playing hide and seek with you when Mercury enters your 12th house. It's a period of a couple weeks where your mind could be your sanctuary, but also a bit of a maze. So how can this manifest in your day-to-day life with all that good stuff happening at work? You might be more introspective than usual over the next couple weeks, sorting through the attic of your mind, which can be surprisingly enlightening but also intense. Ever get the feeling that your brain is buffering? That's Mercury in the 12th house. It's prime time for mental housekeeping, but expect some mental fog with Mercury here. Mercury will be harder to access. It kind of feels like things will be happening at work. Things will be going well with authority figures and with work, and you might be needing a lot more downtime to sort through all the stuff happening at work. And not sort through, but like process your energy. With Saturn throwing a square from your 3rd house, watch for moments where it feels like your words just don't come out right, or small talk feels like a big ask. So slow down and be deliberate with your communicating. Don't be firing off texts without double checking what you're writing. Also, travel might come up for you in the next couple weeks with Mercury in your 12th house. More travel opportunities, more communicating with people from other places, long distance communications, etc. It's also a time to reconnect to your spirituality and your soul and the tools that you use to move through life when things are hard. But again, I think Mercury entering your 12th house is kind of reminding you to take some time to yourself while things start to blossom at work. And that brings me to how I recommend you use this energy. I recommend you embrace solo time and reflect and recharge when needed. It'll be really easy to ignore your needs with Mercury in your 12th house. It'll be easy to feel like you're fine when your body is not fine. So you need to be very mindful. Your brain waves need some quiet space to sort things out. And you might not even notice that that's the case, but you'll notice after you take some time alone and journal and refresh and feel the difference in your energy levels. If communication is getting tricky, especially with siblings or especially with neighbors or with roommates, patience is your best friend. Think less of an immediate reaction and more of a thoughtful response. That's Saturn squaring from the 3rd house. And if tech glitches or travel hiccups are happening, just keep your cool. It's just a phase, and getting worked up isn't going to untangle those wires any faster, right? Saturn wants you to keep your cool, and as a Capricorn rising, you can do that. So Capricorn, with Venus bringing some finesse to your public persona and your career, and Mercury asking you to check in with your inner dialogue, the next few weeks are all about blending external grace with internal space. Keep your balance and use the energy wisely. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyxis Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Aquarius besties. Venus will be entering your 9th house when it enters Libra on November 8th, so you can get ready for a bit of a love affair with all things broadening your horizons. You're looking at a time where connecting with different cultures, philosophies, or even a new course of study is not just interesting, but really appealing and life-affirming. So how can this manifest in your day-to-day? You might find yourself swiping right on someone from a different background, or booking a trip to a place you've always wanted to visit. There's also this pull towards beautifying your worldview, like watching foreign films or diving into books about far-off places, expanding your culture, expanding your knowledge. It's also a solid phase for smooth talking your way out of negotiations or discussions, especially ones that are legal. The 9th house rules the law. So if you have any legal issues that you're dealing with, Venus entering Libra will be a plus on your end. So how can you use this energy? I recommend you take an online course that you've been eyeing, especially if it's about something you appreciate for its beauty or for its ability to help you harmonize with the world. If you have any international colleagues or friends or contacts, reach out to them because the interaction will be very, very pleasant with Venus being there, and the rapport you build with them could be very, very valuable moving forward. I also recommend traveling for the next couple weeks. If you have somewhere to go or want to visit somewhere else, it will be very pleasant with Venus in the 9th house. So let's talk about Mercury entering your 11th house when it enters Sagittarius on November 9th and immediately squares Saturn. So your social network, when this happens, might feel like it's under a microscope. It might be a lot busier, and communication with your social circles could take a more serious tone. So how does this manifest in day-to-day? Have you ever had a text or conversation with a friend that felt more like a chess match? That's the vibe. You're going to want to be a lot more careful with your words, especially in group settings. Also, you might be rethinking your role in some sort of community or network you're involved with. Like, are you the leader? Are you the peacekeeper? Or are you something else? If financial discussions are coming up with friends or within your networks, expect them to be a bit more pragmatic than usual. You can also expect to be a lot more busy with social interactions in general. Talking to more people, networking more, social media might be blowing up more, or you're just finding more interest in social media or connection over social media. So how do you use this energy for the next couple weeks? When it comes to new ideas or new projects with collaborations with other people, double check the details before diving in. Mercury is not playing at full strength, and Saturn is not going to let anything slip by. And if your friend needs advice, especially on money matters, they might find that you are the voice of reason. So just remember to be gentle with your truths, Aquarius. So Venus is turning up the charm in your pursuit for knowledge and pursuit for new experiences, while Mercury is asking you to choose your words carefully within the collective. Navigate these transits with your natural intellect, and you can find both wisdom and camaraderie in the weeks ahead. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyx's Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time. Hello, Pisces. So Venus enters your 8th house when it enters Libra on November 8th. You can expect some intensity with your close relationships and potentially beneficial developments with shared resources and money matters. So how can this manifest in your day-to-day? This could be a period where you're more successful in applying for a loan or getting a good deal on repayments. Think lower interest rates or favorable terms. Anything like that is likely. If you're in a relationship, you might find that discussions around shared assets or shared resources go a bit smoothly. There's a willingness to support each other financially with this aspect, or a business partnership as well, not only a relationship. This is also a prime time for emotional healing. So if you have an appointment with a therapist, that could be very, very helpful for you. Or maybe you have a really nice conversation with someone that you trust that helps heal something in you. Something that brings peace to your emotional baggage. So how do I recommend you use this energy with Venus here? I recommend opening up to the possibility of financial support coming through a partner or some sort of external source. Open up to that possibility, work for it if you know what your goals are. I also recommend you address any lingering issues, emotional issues head on with somebody. Venus is providing a calming influence that can help make difficult conversations about deep topics a lot easier to handle. So over the next couple weeks, you can try addressing any lingering issues. So let's talk about Mercury now. Mercury enters your 10th house when it enters Sagittarius on November 9th and will immediately square Saturn in your first house. So expect your professional communications to require a lot more effort, and be prepared for your public image to need some attention, and not necessarily in a bad way, but you will be a lot busier at work. Let's talk about the manifestations actually. You might feel that your emails are coming. There's so many emails, just buried in emails, buried in correspondence, buried in a to-do list. And it is you're probably going to notice that these emails and communications might need a second or third draft before they're being sent, thanks to Saturn's square, especially, like I said, when it comes to work stuff. Public speaking or presentations might be happening more often for you for the next 2 weeks. And they may come with a little bit extra stress thanks to Saturn, but practicing and preparing will be your best friend with working through any public speaking opportunity you have to go through like it's a trauma. And also a boss or authority figure could challenge your idea of some kind, asking you to back them up with solid facts and solid figures. Do not speed in your car with this transit also this weekend. I don't want you getting pulled over by a cop. That's an authority figure also. And Mercury is going to want to be speeding, but Saturn's going to want to slow you down. So drive nicely. Follow all the rules this weekend. So how else can you use this energy? Use this time to refine your professional messages to people and refine how you represent yourself in your career and what you want to look like and what you want to act like and what you want to be known for. Since Saturn is throwing that square from the first house, be ready to step up with a maturity and a well thought up plan when dealing with any career related obstacles for the next couple weeks. So Venus in the 8th house is like a trusted advisor with all things intimate and financial negotiation, while Mercury in the 10th house square Saturn is the tough love mentor pushing you to think critically about your career moves. So that's what we have today. How do you feel about the upcoming ingresses? Comment below, let's share and learn from each other. I love hearing what y'all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyxis Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations for either readings or mentorships. And lastly, of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, my friends. I will see you next time.